A very warm welcome to When Buddha Moved In. This is a special channel for you that are interested in spiritual growth, and I will channel from an open heart all the knowledge and wisdom, compassion and love that I have gathered from the spiritual teachings that I've got through the years. So this book that I have made for you, that's called When Buddha Moved In. It was a book that came to me because I wanted to share some more wisdom, I found that people around me were very tired and exhausted, and so was I, from job and relationships and a lot of duties. And it came to me that I should share the messages from the Buddhism, but maybe in a quite different way than a lot of other people are doing it. So I have been studying for many years, since I was 13, when I first discovered the wheel from the library, the life wheel, and how you get out of this samsara that we're living in when we are in a hurry all the time and not are living in the present moment. So I was finding myself in the years when I was in high school, and also when I was a little younger, but mostly from high school beginning, the beginning of high school, that my mind was set on this frequency that when I was done with something, I have put up a goal and I've done something, then everything will be better. Then there was a change, then there was a relief, and then there was new thing to arise and more happiness in my life. And what I observed and discovered was, every time I was in this state of mind, I was away from my body and away from my feelings and mind, and instead in the future. Through many years, then I gathered a lot of stress in my body and in my mind, also in job situations, because I had very difficult finding myself taking a break, even though other people were taking breaks in their lives when they were at jobs. I couldn't find myself being in that break. Something inside of me wished that break would last forever, but still I was caught up in this cycle of being in this constantly reaching out and getting more, being afraid of not get everything with me that I have the opportunity to discover and be entertained with. So then there was a new starting point in my life where I have had some very dangerous situations from my work, and that inspired me. Or forced me to take a change. Make a change, take a change. Take another path in life. And I was put off in a way to discover this and to dig deeper in this, to gather the information and the knowledge and the wisdom and the practice of studying meditation and being aware, discovering my body and mind, figuring out who am I and why am I so, and what am I going to use this for, and why am I going to use it. And to be very honest, it has been a very difficult journey because clarity arises, but it also fades again. And the fluctuation of the mind is a part of being in a society like this Western world, instead of being more in the calmness of the mind and having a bigger community where people are happy in the journey of life, not chasing something all the time. So I had a lot of thoughts about what if more people just meditated and it was spread to the world so that people can take it in and discover it with themselves, that happiness is not something that you chase or you gather. It's something that you create within your mind, being in a state in the mind that is more stable and more in peace. So if something excites you, then there's also the opposite. And if that's the pattern that you're living in, then your life will bounce up and down all the time. But when you realize that the peace and the calmness of the mind and the body is where you find your happiness, even though you have to do some practical stuff like taking care of your body, eating some food, and also pay some bills if you have a small apartment or a house. Then there are lots of ways to live the path of meditation, not just for 1 or 2 hours a day, but more like a way of life, a way of being. And you don't have to, in my eyes, you don't have to sit in your little cabin on a mountain to get enlightened. Enlightenment is where you stop gathering all these unnecessary things and stuff and informations and start being more in the presence, discovering your body and your mind, your thoughts, and taking care of small things and observing all the small things and being grateful for that. So I have done a lot of research on myself and also on other people, very rich people that I know myself, and also people that are not that very abundant in material stuff. And what has been very clear to me is that you can have two people, both one that is very poor and then one that is very rich, and both are very poor in the essence that they don't understand what the meaning of life is. So one is taking a big extreme, not having anything, and have a very hard time attracting anything good from other people, even though there is a lot of charity work and people around the world that will help a lot of people. Then you can have two people beside each other, and one will say yes to some bread and some will say no, and it's because of their paradigm and their mindset, and that is stuck. And the same with very rich people that have everything, like Buddha. He was the son of a very rich person. Didn't know anything about what poverty was, or sickness, or death before he got out of his home, his big rich home. And what he discovered was that when people around you are suffering, you're also suffering. So therefore, if you're rich, then you're also poor, because you have not shared what you've got, so that the suffering from others have reduced. And this is from my perspective as it is, because if you don't have any food, it's hard to become enlightened, because your body needs a small amount of different kinds of food to sustain itself and be healthy. So no one can get really enlightened if they don't have a little bit of food every day and some clean water. And from the other perspective, if you look at somebody who's really rich, they will not get enlightened if they don't share what they've got, because then they have not understood what compassion and love and that is. So if you live together with somebody, one is rich and the other one is poor, then both are suffering, because we all are part of each other. And that is two kind of extremes, poverty and very, very big exorbitantly rich people. They also have to go through sickness and getting old and dying. So everything that has a start and beginning has a duration in between, and it also has an end. And that's not different from one person to another. The duration of time can be different. We don't know how much time we have, and therefore we have to spend it now in a good way, meditating and being in observation of who we are and what makes us happy. And what I also discover has been that everything you want to keep, you have to give away. So every time I get something in the apartment or houses that I have been staying at, owning, every time I give away, always something is coming back to me. So, but if I keep something and won't share it, then I lose it. And that could be a theory that you could give, but Buddhism and the spiritual way of Buddhism that I have taken up as a part of my life, a big part of my life, is to try to understand and discover it with your own senses, if it's true. So not taking anything for granted or taking anything for what is said or done, but investigate yourself if it's true. When you give something out, you get something in return, and what you give out is in the frequency where you will get in return somehow. That's my experience, so it fits with the theory. And when this came to my realization, I went into a deeper state of my mind that I wanted to share this on the top of my coaching. So I'm not only doing coaching as helping people to know who they are and where they are and where they want to go, but the most important thing is to inspire you to observe yourself and look at the patterns that you're doing, accept them as they are. Don't judge yourself or harm yourself. It is what it is, but then try to take a new step into a new way where you are doing some new habits. And this is why I made this YouTube channel called Buddhi, because Buddha was a man, and I was looking for somebody like me. And I can see a lot of similarities in people around me. But when I saw like nuns all over the world, I came to the conclusion from the study that a lot of them also have the same issues that I have, even though they live in a monastery. So I came to this goal in my life that I wanted to use all my life to figure out how to become a Buddhi, which is my own view of a Buddha in a human female body.